Today we're going to learn about identifying the topic of a text or passage or even a book that we are reading. We're going to begin by sorting the words at the bottom of your screen into two categories. I see words like cow, and I see a word like duck and chicken, and I'm going to sort them together because those words are all different types of animals. And then I see words like flower or chocolate chips or even salt. And I'm going to sort those words together because those are all cooking words, or maybe words that I might use to make chocolate chip cookies. So I've sorted the words into two categories. And when you finish watching your video, you will sort all of the words into two categories. Now, I have to come up with a topic for each of these words. A topic is going to be one or two words that sums up what that's about. If I wanted to sum up cow, chicken, and duck, I would say that these are all examples of animals. So I would come to type here and I would say animals. Or you might even say farm animals if you wanted to take it maybe a step further. Then I come over to these words and I think about what all of these words have in common. These words are all ingredients, or I could say maybe all these words have to do with cooking. So maybe the topic of these words would be cooking. Notice how this topic is only one or two words. It's not writing a sentence, I'm not writing a passage. I'm summing up what those words are about. We do the same thing in reading. When we pick up a book, we identify what that book or that passage is about, and that is our topic. There's 3 books here on our screen, and we have an advantage with these 3 books because the titles and the pictures help us determine what the topic is. This first book, I see a frog in the title, A Frog's Life. And I would say that one word topic would be frog. I see the second book, Owls, with a picture of owl. And that helps me figure out the topic would be owl. Or I see this book says the solar system with pictures of planets. And I would say that that topic is the solar system. But sometimes when we approach a book, maybe we don't have a title. So we have to read the passage and we have to determine what's that one word or two words that that passage is all about. Today we're going to take a look at this short passage and we're going to determine what the topic is of this passage. Let's read. At some point in your life, you've probably looked up, gazed at the moon, and studied it in wonder. Throughout time, the moon has inspired many people. In 1801, Ludwig van Beethoven composed a piano piece called Moonlight Sonata. Later, in 1889, Vincent van Gogh painted The Starry Night. In this painting, swirls of white and yellow created around the moon. In 2011, Marilyn Singer wrote a book called A Full Moon is Rising, about how people all over the world celebrate the moon. The next time you gaze upon the moon, maybe you'll be inspired by it too. After reading that passage, and if I'm trying to figure out the topic, one thing I might do is look at which words are being repeated multiple times. In this text, I noticed that moon was repeated several times throughout this short excerpt. Then I also see that a picture of the moon is shown right next to that passage. If I had to pick out one word for the topic of this passage, I would say that it is about the moon. Now, as we continue in our learning and we look at main idea and key details over the next several days, we will have a very specific main idea that we learn about the moon. But the very foundation of our work is to determine what we are reading about and what we are learning about. And at the very basic foundation, this passage was about the moon. Your job then today will be to go and answer the questions. What is the topic of the text? What clues did the author use to help you determine the topic of the text? Notice how it asks you to provide 2 examples from the passage that helped you figure out the topic. And your last question, how do you know that Vincent van Gogh is not the topic of the text?